Hello, everybody. I'm John O'Loughlin. Welcome to McDuff Lives, and Marcia's here, so let's go. And here we are. It's John and Marcia right here for your Friday live chat. I hope you can join us in the chat room, and thanks for being here. Marcia, hello. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. I'm good. I was a little chilly earlier on, but now I got my nice vest on. I'm feeling good.
Oh, good. Well, just wait till Monday.
It's going to get cold.
Oh, it's going to get very cold. There is a very, very, very cold wave headed our way. It's going to hit the center of the country over the weekend, and it'll get to us on Monday.
Ooh.
It's going to be very cold.
Okay. All right. Well, I feel like I'm stuck here. I'd like to be in warmer place, but for now, it's good. It's very good here on Mystery Island. Hey, Raz Vatka's here. Good morning, Raz. How are you?
Raz says, dress warm. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get out all the sweaters and fleece and blankets and things.
You know, with energy costs going up like they've been, I mean, many people are now keeping their heat down,
Yep.
in the low 60s maybe.
Ooh, that's a little too low.
But I mean, what are you going to do, if you're if you're on Social Security and you don't have any savings or, much.
Right.
What are you going to do? You're going to freeze.
Yeah.
And of course, that's why we wear extra clothes. Well, anyway, it's been a very interesting week for me here at Lake Mystery Island. Corky's here. That's great. Hey, Corky.
Corky says, Hola, I prefer the full 4 seasons. No more, no less. Yeah. I don't want them to all be equal in terms of duration.
Yeah.
I would like a much shorter winter.
Was the snow scheduled? So you know what,
What a good idea.
Schedule the snow for like January, first week of January, and everybody knows it's coming. Yeah, but you know what? That makes me think about weather control and creepy satellites and
well, see, that's where you go. I go to Camelot. The winter is forbidden till December and exits March the 2nd on the spot.
And then what?
By order, summer lingers till September in Camelot.
Camelot? Well,
that's what I want.
Yeah, and then when I think Camelot, I think JFK and Jackie. And,
well, there we go.
The myth that they tried to sell us about this mystically happy, family living in the White House.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. Razvedka says, enjoyed your grok video yesterday.
Oh, thank you very much. I would, it just beat me to death to find out how to stop grok from writing down what I was saying while I'm trying to read the past grok comment. And it took me a half hour after the show to finally find out what it was. It wasn't like turning on a microphone or anything. It was something called voice control that hides in the Mac OS. And I had to know that was what it was by eliminating everything else.
But then this morning, you were having trouble with your laptop.
Yeah.
And I wondered if it had to do with all that.
Sure.
Those changes that you made yesterday. So, yeah, always these challenges.
But, to the point on grok, okay, even yesterday, I was still very upset about it. I mean, emotionally inside, I was like, this really, really sucks, that you have a major AI, the one that I've been using because I'm on X. So I just punch, the grok button. I haven't done much on Chat GPT or anything else yet. But to find out that it is just playing with us, I mean, that first of all, it kind of hurt my feelings, but now I'm mad. I'm angry at it. And I have a mind to do a show live,
Mm-hmm.
with me and Grok.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to put Grok on the witness stand like I do when I was trying cases and, cross-examine that idiot, that idiotic computer.
Right.
Because it's so stupid that when I say, "Oh, you just lied," it says, "Yeah, you're right, I lied."
Yeah, it's actually got me thinking a lot about marketing and advertising and product development, because there was a time, and one of the things that I thought about last night after this whole situation with you and Grok and your show, there was a time when manipulation was discouraged or not encouraged or outright forbidden. And I guess what I should say is hidden manipulation. Their advertising has been around as long as, commerce has been around, but it gets more and more um, complex and more technical, and people find new ways to use technology. But there was a time when it was illegal to do, what's it called? What is it called? Subliminal advertising, where, you could put a frame of a bottle of Coca-Cola
Yeah.
that goes by so quick, your brain doesn't even consciously note it, but it does subconsciously. And that was illegal. And I think that what you're uncovering shows to me some current activity using current technology that to me is on par with subliminal advertising, that is manipulating us in ways that we don't even realize we are being manipulated, all for the purpose of making money. Grok wants you to think these things that it thinks you want to believe, so that you will keep coming back to Grok and keep using Grok, because then Grok's makers make money. It is just total manipulation, and it's horrible.
And what is the value in it in the first place? I mean, why is it set up in such a way that investors make money due to somebody just continuing to scroll on the product? I mean, I'm not seeing ads. Maybe I'm seeing subliminal ads. Maybe they're flashing by me, "Hey, John, don't you want that Corvette?"
Or they may not even be subliminal, but you aren't noting them because they're off on the side.
Yeah.
Who knows? But the longer you use, I mean, it's the same thing with Reels. I began to realize yesterday that Reels keeps trying to draw us in.
Yeah.
Show me the cute animals, show me the cake decorating, show me the singers, whatever it is that they recognize you'll watch, they show you more of. And again, I think that is it's a money-making thing. The longer I watch those Reels, the more money various influencers or companies are making.
And another example is well, what I wanted to get at is that it looks to me like the whole reason that they're doing this, why would they say, "Hey, hey, billionaires, invest in this, it'll pay off, it'll pay you good money." Why? What is the reason that it's going to generate money? Well, it's not because it's intrinsically valuable, it's because it's fulfilling somebody's policy desires that everybody be glued to their computer or their phone all the time.
Yeah.
And to start training us that to learn something, go to your computer. To learn something, use AI. To learn something, open up your Grok. And that was one of the comments that I valued that we got on the show yesterday. Was someone made the comment that they are teaching students in school how to use AI.
Well, in fact, Garden Girl, Good Morning Garden Girl, um, says schools and universities are encouraging students to use these programs. Murky education, if you ask me. Murky indeed.
Yeah, and but training us to not go to original sources,
Right.
but to just simply say, well, I'll ask Grok.
Exactly, because it's easy. It's right there.
It's so easy. It's so easy.
Yeah.
But then, well, the other reason is to gaslight us.
Hmm.
To give us false information that we will then pass on. And this fulfills the overall goal of the CIA expressed by William Casey back in the 1980s. Casey said, we'll know our program has been successful when the American people are not able to tell what is true from what is false.
And we're there as far as I'm concerned. It's very frustrating to me to be trying to figure out what is going on in the world. And I don't know who to trust. I don't know whose information is going to be truthful, valid, unbiased, complete. That's, I think, a big part of it. So much of the information that's available to us is just incomplete. It may not be a lie, although in many cases it is, but it's also incomplete so that we don't get the whole picture and we think that, what we know is everything, and it's not. There's, all these other details to go along with it. It's it's very I really do feel now that I don't know what is true.
Well, William Casey, you should be smiling in your grave
Yep.
because that's what they wanted to do. I'm not there. I feel fairly confident that what I can decipher as being true is true. No. Now, Corky put up the example of 2 + 2 = 3, and that reminds me, of course, of one of the first attempts to change people's minds to agree with what they're told instead of what they see or what they know or what they believe, and that goes back to the early Jesuits and Ignatius Loyola training. And the goal of such training was that you could make the students believe you if you said to them 2 + 2 = 5, and they would say, yes, 2 + 2 = 5. That's what my master said, and that's the truth, because you are now relying upon your master in the Jesuit order to give you the truth. And conversely, the other example was to say that snow is black. And they would get people to say snow is black just in order to make sure that they had complete control over their minds.
Mm-hmm.
So when they said to them, see that guy over there, he's a terrorist, then you don't have any problem pulling the trigger.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But I think it happens regularly now. It's like January 6th, there was an insurrection, and we keep hearing that. On January 7th, no one was calling it an insurrection. Nobody was, calling it even weeks afterwards. It wasn't until a few months later, when the memory was a little bit fuzzier in our minds, they started calling it an insurrection. And to this day, it's now an insurrection.
Yeah. And they're still saying, that police officers were killed and all this stuff, but they have never solved the bomb at the DNC. They tease us with this stuff.
Right.
Like, we're going to solve this. We're going to figure this out, but they never do.
Garden Girl 24 says, this is thought control. We may witness a type of Fahrenheit 451 style abolishment of books, history, essays. They will write our history. Indeed.
Yeah. And that's one of the most famous quotes from George Orwell, is that who controls the present controls the past, and who controls the past controls the future.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, if you write the history that says, I'm a really good person, I come from really good lineage, and I'm a really good person, and you should make me the king, then who's going to argue with you? all the rest of the stories are gone.
Yeah, especially if you have that kind of charismatic manner that some people seem to latch onto, and that makes it easier for you to control people.
Well, that's what it's about. It's psychological manipulation of us, both in individual cases and on mass psychology. Very
Exactly. Well, Brightmore says dopamine hits have skewed the human psyche.
wow.
Yep.
No, I know. I like my dopamine hits.
Well, that's honest.
I do. I mean, but it's addicting. It's very addicting.
It is. It is. I have to stop myself I'll be scrolling through social media and I see the reels and it's something that looks like it's going to be interesting. So I stop and look at it and it turns out not to be so interesting, or maybe it is interesting, but it's over in just a few seconds. But instead of going back to scrolling through my feed, then I start scrolling through the reels. And the next thing I know, 30 minutes have gone by and I've just been sitting there going, it's scary.
Yeah, and keeping us in the individualized, compartments. We just don't get together in groups anymore. I mean, the classic example of the neighborhood public house, the pub. That wasn't just for going and drinking. That was for hanging out. That was for talking
You know
to your
what?
neighbors.
I think that's you and me that doesn't do that anymore. Because I know here in this neighborhood where we live,
Yeah.
people do go up to the public house and sit around and drink and socialize.
Well, yeah. I guess that's true. But as somebody that doesn't drink, that's
Right.
yeah. So maybe it's just me.
Maybe it's just us. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, not just you, me. Well, Brightmore says, meanwhile, the chat box makers will memory hole non-hard copy resources. I'm not sure I follow that.
I think he's saying that there won't be a record of what we're saying. I don't know. Maybe Brightmore can explain that a little more.
Corky says vicarious experience provided from others, a huge part of learning, including simulations. Always, already, knowing one's ignorance can be a spur to carry on. You guys are very, very philosophical and a bit, what's the word I want? Unclear, but there's a nicer word for it. This is not hitting me. Anyway.
Esoteric?
Esoteric, I like that.
Well, yeah, I like what Corky said, though. I wanted just an anecdote. I started walking, basically every day, usually 3/4 of a mile or so. Before I started doing this walking, I just happened to have seen one of those Facebook reels with I don't know, I guess a guru, a guy that sits there with the Indian robes and all, and then he tells you wise things. Well, what he said was, every place, wherever you go, you'll see people out in their 60s and they're out walking, and you see all these people out walking. Did you ever think why they're out walking? Oh, they're out walking because they've had a heart attack and they don't want to have another heart attack.
Right.
They're doing that to protect
Sure.
themselves,
Sure.
And so what Corky says is, we don't have to have a heart attack. We can walk without having a heart attack because we learn from others. And that's what the guru is saying. You don't have to suffer through that. If you just see what people are doing, you can skip that step, but just go ahead and do the walking. So
start walking before you have the heart attack.
That pretty much convinced me to get out there and get my metabolism going.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Raz Vedka asks, is it possible that Google picked up on John's reasoning as Google said just what John revealed, but AI can agree with those who query their stuff and not let it out too very much. It sucks for sure.
I want to do a live show with me and Grok. It's
Yep.
going to be me and Grok, and I'm going to cross-examine the hell out of Grok.
I think that'll be
I
fascinating.
haven't had fun cross-examining anybody in trial in at least 10 years. So that would be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a witness that's clearly not on your side, then you just go right after him.
FBI is investigating Archive Today, which obviously has stores of archived info. Is Archive Today? Oh, then the next one, Brightmoor adds a website. All right, this is one of those that's going to be, I don't know why sometimes I have trouble clicking on these comments. A website, but I don't understand this. archive.is/OJOWM. So I'm not sure.
That's a website.
Yeah, but it's a website, but
It's in Iceland.
yeah, right. Well, my question is Archive Today. What is that? Is that a government site? Is that a commercial site? Is it a
Yeah,
non-
I'm not
yeah.
familiar with. I think of Internet Archive as a site, where you can read books, and I think my shows are archived there if that's still
Interesting.
happening. But this might be a different archive.
Garden Girl makes a good point. This is also why they have divided us politically. They don't want us to communicate with each other. Absolutely.
Oh, I have to say on that, 2 or 3 days ago on Facebook, I saw this elderly, is my age, a man in his 70s, sitting in a comfortable chair, nice lighting, very comfortable looking, probably wearing a cardigan or something. So a man that looks like he's quite sincere, giving you his true opinion. And it was about 5 minutes of him just explaining how there's absolutely nothing that the Republicans have ever done for the common person. The Republicans are about nothing but enriching the rich people that are already rich. And he got on and on and on for 3 or 4 minutes along those lines. And so, he said, if your brother-in-law is a Republican, if your neighbor is a Republican, they're wrong. They're just wrong. And that type of message, it's not only going to help them win the election, because a lot of people will not bother to look at what the Republicans are saying based upon it, but it's also part of that wall that they're building to make sure that we don't talk to one another.
Indeed.
And I see that everywhere. I mean, this is, again, I talk about my liberal friends, they're just great musicians, folk musicians, people that are masters of the violin or the guitar, or, all kinds of interesting folk music that I've participated in for probably 40 years. But 99% of them are just very, very, very much engaged in TDS, in Trump derangement syndrome. So their politics consists of 2 parts. Number 1, what side is Orange Man on? And number 2, vote against that side.
Right.
And that's all they want to know. I mean, I'm sorry, folks, but you guys are just playing into this divide and conquer thing with abandon, without any thought that, hey, maybe this is a lie. Maybe I should talk to the Republican that lives next door to me about content, about subject matter, about
yes,
maybe I should.
And that to me calls to mind the experience I had with one of our neighbors. We were at a neighborhood get together, and this person wanted to make a point to somebody else. We were sitting within proximity to each other, and this person wanted to make a point to somebody else. and thinking that she knew my politics, which is something we have never, ever discussed. She made some assumptions based on some other, not even mine, but other social media posts that she saw. She made assumptions about my politics. So as she turned to speak to her husband, she holds her hands up to cover my face. Oh, sorry, camera. My camera didn't like me doing that. Anyway, she holds her hands up to cover my face so that I don't hear what it is she has to say over there.
Uh-huh.
And I said, what are you doing? And she goes, well, I don't want you to hear it because I know I was going to say thus and so thing, and I know that that's contrary to your politics. And I said, you can't know that because you and I have never discussed politics. But again, it is this, not only is she not making an effort to hear what I have to say, she's even if her assumptions were right, but also she doesn't want to communicate her feelings to me. So she's covering up my face, putting her hands up in front of my face when she says this thing that she's going to say. It's very, very strange.
It shows a lack of confidence in their own, it's like,
oh, that's a good point.
Don't bust my bubble. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I mean, I am committed to this, the blue team. So I don't need to hear anything from the red team because that would make me unhappy, or I might have to fight. I'd go into fight or flight,
Mm-hmm.
and people say, well, I've already made up my mind. I don't need to go through the stress of listening to some dumb Republican tell me what to do.
And people assume that if you believe one thing, then you believe the entire set of values of the other side. Mm-hmm. If you think that the Trump's tariffs have merit, then you must also be on board with everything else that Trump has done or whatever. They just assume that it's either all or nothing.
Yeah. And they'll do whatever it takes to get rid of Orange Man, Right. We're going to get rid of Orange Man. It's as if that's going to solve anything.
Exactly.
It's not going to solve anything.
Yeah. Another clown will come along.
You'll get another Democratic clown that'll get us all locked down and put the World Health Organization in charge of our medical care.
That's right.
You'll get another one of them Democratic clowns that wants to put a carbon tax on everybody,
Right.
Make old Al Gore finally rich on all his investments.
Oh my goodness.
Which he's already rich, but.
Well, Banjo Loon 1 is here. Hello, Banjo Loon 1. Banjo Loon says, hello, John and Marcia.
Hey.
That's nice. Thank you for joining us.
The Bango man.
Bango?
Yeah. Well, we used to call banjos bangos just for fun.
Oh, I see. Poor banjos get picked on.
Did you notice you just made a kind of a pun?
It wasn't intended, but I'm really proud of it, and I wanted to take credit for it, but I had to, for a split second, think about whether or not I was going to.
Yeah.
But
Well, don't be afraid.
That one was over my head.
Frailing.
I don't know that term.
Well,
is it a banjo thing?
Yeah, it's a kind of banjo playing,
Okay. Well, I won't fret over it. Or string you along. Okay.
What else are people saying here
in
the chat?
Brightmore has brought up Hegseth just hit the 17th drug boat near Venezuela with a kinetic strike.
Uh-huh.
Kinetic strike. Huh. Future kinetic strikes will come from the rods from the gods satellites dropping telephone-sized rods. Okay.
I think he's recalling the rods of God that was a story, Raz, I think it was 20 years ago, if not more, in Russia, where there was these 3 deep concentric holes that were just like parallel to each other that dug down and how far, half a mile, whatever, right next to each other in this remote part of Russia. And it was blamed on something called the rod of God, that somebody has a weapon that they can shoot from space down, and the velocity of it will just bury it into the ground. It almost sounds like the Russian Oreshnik that has been talked about and seen 6 months ago when they actually used one. These things go way up in the sky and then they come down at hyper speeds that impart so much kinetic energy that it just there's nothing that you can do to stop it. They haven't used another one since they used the first one, but the video of the first one is pretty frightening. The things that they can throw at us from space now, including lasers, by the way. When you talk about, how do all those crazy fires get started, I think of lasers from space.
Well, let's go back to the topic, though. The topic being these shooting these Venezuelan boats.
Yeah.
I still continue to be horrified, absolutely horrified, that we are taking out civilians like this. If they are committing a crime, then let's go through due process. But just to be taking out civilians, using the military to do that, I continue to be.
I have tried to figure out a reason why they would be doing this, and the only reason I can come up with is to make it look like they're throwing something to stop the drug importing.
Right. Well, that's what
just,
they're saying.
They're just like, oh, we're stopping the drug import. Bullshit. You're not stopping any. You might be stopping 1/10 of 1% on one day, but the drugs that are coming into this country are not just coming on little speedboats. They're coming, across the Canadian border through San Francisco. They're coming from Mexico.
I mean, that's where most of the fentanyl comes from, is from Mexico.
That's not what I heard. I heard it came from Canada.
Okay, well, that's fine. It comes from North America, then, let's just say. But, what's coming out of Venezuela may not even be headed our way. A lot of what's coming out of Venezuela is headed to Africa. West Africa.
Do you think it's just a resource play to get the oil?
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Or is it just a show?
Just
like you were saying,
beating
to make it look like we're doing.
Chest, saying, yeah. See, I'm doing something.
But how it can be legal?
It's not. It is not legal. The only arguments for making it legal would take me back to John Yoo and the stupid Bush administration when they were terrorizing and torturing those poor Iraqi prisoners. The justification of murder and torture and terror,
right,
that was offered by the Republican administration at the time. I think it was Bush, but
they've now killed over 60 people.
We've never condemned that. Our country has never come out and said, that was wrong. We're punishing these people. We're never going to do it again. They did demote the woman general that was supposedly in charge of it to colonel. I'll never forget that. First of all, that they put a woman in charge of a horrific program like that. That's, I think, just misogynistic right there to make her the fall guy. But then they took away her star. But other than that, nobody said, hey, this violates the basic human rights of every human. This violates the Constitution. This is way beyond anything that we have as citizens authorized our government to do ever. And it's repulsive, and we should never, ever do it. But no, I mean, just shooting these drug boats from, even if they're drug boats, which we don't know for sure, but
right,
but just kinetic, come on, you blasted them right out of the water, you destroyed them, and it destroys families, it destroys communities, and I'm against it.
Oh, yeah. And so many of the people who are being killed are not the leaders.
No.
They're not the terrorists they are just guys trying to earn a living, and you can't earn a living fishing. So you take on some drugs because the cartels will pay big bucks for that.
Yeah. And who's behind the cartels in the first place? It's the same people that are running the banks and the government and the royalty of England and the Rothschilds. I mean, these are the people that are making the money off the drug. It's not the guys driving the boats.
Right.
It's sickening.
It is. It is, and I don't know, how do we stop it, or can we stop it? I don't know. Now we've gotten way behind in the comments, so
Yeah, that
yeah.
happens. Sorry
Yeah.
about that, guys.
Oh, let's see. There's some comments about Nancy Pelosi that I'm going to scroll over because, calling people names isn't nice, even if you don't agree with them.
You just say bye-bye, Nancy.
Yes, just
Bye.
say bye-bye, Nancy.
Bye-bye.
Glad to see you go.
Bye-bye.
Now, if only we could get Steny to go away.
Oh, God. Oh. I still feel a little pang of guilt that I didn't take up Harley Schlanger's challenge that I should run against Steny. I mean, it would be a ridiculous, effort, but
You and I have been close enough to our local politics
have
here
we not?
that we know that would be, I mean, we know the local politicians on a first name basis. They know us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No.
you want to start exposing, you'll never stop. You'll be the rest of your life. You'll be under attack.
That's right. That's right. No, thank you. And of course, Maryland's governor is now trying to do some redistricting to get rid of that one Republican district that we have in the state.
We only have one?
Yeah.
I thought the whole Eastern Shore was red.
And maybe that's the one that I thought it was up in the mountains.
And then there's the mountains too. I mean,
but there's only one that right now. There's only one Republican congressperson from the state of Maryland.
Yeah, well, we've examined the gerrymandering of our congressional districts here on the show 3 or 4 years ago, and just to look at the congressional districts surrounding Baltimore, it's like,
that one is laughable. But
oh man,
but yeah, well, our governor Wes Moore, is going to further gerrymander so that we can be certain to get rid of all Republicans representing the state of Maryland.
I will say one good thing for my liberal friends, that go to the No Kings thing and all, is that one of them posted this morning a picture about the Bill of Rights and free speech,
Mm-hmm.
Freedom of religion, association, the press, and said, this is what we basically saying. This is America. This is what we want. And I have to say, I completely agree with you.
Yes, indeed.
And it is the Constitution that binds us together. And as long as you guys are praising the Constitution and looking for solutions through the constitutional process that has served us, for over 200 years, then I'm with you. I mean, I think we can work it out.
Well, I think that's why the Democrats have been so successful with liberals, because they pretend to honor the Constitution. They don't openly ignore it. And that, the current administration, I'm sorry, but the current administration doesn't, I mean, there's that one interview with Trump, and I can't remember who was doing the interview, where he was asked, do you believe that you're obligated to follow the Constitution? And he said, I don't know. Well, first of all, I don't know is shocking. But then and that was all that was quoted. He did go on to say, I have advisors to advise me on that. Okay, so there was more to it than I don't know. All the same, that should be an automatic yes. I took an oath to do that. I put my hand on a Bible and swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States. He shouldn't be saying, I don't know. So he's a little more open about scoffing at the Constitution. The Democrats may scoff at it, but only behind closed doors.
Like Obama.
Yeah. Garden Girl 24 says, it's probably just one party with two flavors. We may be getting played big time.
Oh, we are.
Yes, yes, yes.
But that's why, and I put this on my Facebook. I said, as long as the left and the right agree that the Constitution is the solution, and we're okay. But it's not the left or the right. It's the uniparty in the middle that's tearing apart the Constitution.
That's right.
It's the combination of Democratic and Republican leadership
Yes.
that is eroding our rights and trashing the founding fathers' ideal of an empire of liberty, so to speak.
Yes.
Liberty.
Yes. Well, I do have to. I know this is quite a little off the subject, but before we get too far past it, Razvedka says, John, you need Marcia for that interview with Grok. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I am happy to help you with that interview with Grok.
Okay. You can be my media consultant.
There we go. Brightmore says, Mamdani seems to, I think he means seems to be, public enemy number one in New York City because he won't show fealty to Israel. But you know what? He has spoken out against anti-Semitism and, has said he will fight it. I actually am delighted to see that he recognizes, he's one of the few politicians on either side who recognizes the humanity of the Palestinians. Of course he does, but still, I don't think he's not anti-Semitic.
Yeah, I don't know anything about him in particular, except for that he had a strong support of Soros' brothers, father and son, and that freaks me out enough already. But I think I would add a layer of concern because of what's happening in Great Britain, where in Great Britain, Muslim people are taking over the country. I just saw that in Sheffield, England, there will be no Christmas decorations this year because the mayor is Muslim, and they've decided not to have Christmas decorations. I guess, to be fair to everybody that's not Christian.
Okay, that's not going to happen in this country. They don't have that's not going to happen in this.
I hope so, but
no, I think that's one situation that you're projecting onto the rest of the world, and that's a shame. And I'm sorry for the people in Sheffield, but Garden Girl does note, don't be fooled. Mamdani is backed by a few billionaires. Wink, wink.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They're gonna come together.
They put these people in these offices in order to keep us divided. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. It's all part of that whole ploy to manipulate us. Again, it goes back to what we were talking about with Grok. The goal is to manipulate us and to have us believe that snow is black when snow is actually white.
Are you sure about that, Marcia?
I am.
All right. You want to go to heaven, though, don't you?
Of course I do, but I hesitated there because I define heaven a little differently than most. I define the afterlife a little differently than most.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
That's you and a pile of dogs, right?
Well, yeah, that would be heaven. But yeah, that whole heaven hell thing, I'm not sure I'm on board with that one. In fact, I'm sure I am not.
Oh, let's see who else has got something to say this morning. Oh, can I put this one up?
Do whatever, yeah.
Banjo Loon says, we need some good grad students to write a PhD about McDuff and JFK. That would be so great.
Wouldn't that be fabulous?
Like the University of Maryland sends some grad students over here to learn my story and my dad's story and how it all fits with the JFK assassination, and to really write it up. And then they would do it for free because they'd get to be a PhDs when they finish their writing. And I do as much as I can. I did write the book, and I keep thinking I've got to write another edition of the book, but I don't know when I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you're pretty busy.
I am. I'm so happy I got back into singing. I'm, going back up to Camp Hill, Pennsylvania to sing Sunday. And then in 2 weeks, we're going up to Beach Haven, New Jersey to sing at the Surflight Theater right
Dude,
there.
we're going in 1 week.
Oh, it's the 15th of November.
Right.
So that's 1 week.
Yeah.
So anyway, anybody's near Beach Haven, New Jersey,
Yeah.
come and see us on Saturday, the 15th of November at the Surflight.
One of your followers was there the last time we were there 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was delightful. It was so fun to meet him, his
Yes.
wife. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Anthony in India.
Oh, I don't remember names.
No, Tyrone. It was Tyrone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our good friend Tyrone.
Razvedka asks, John and Marcia, tell us about the CIA woman that won the election in Virginia. What is that?
I know. That's another one I have to study. Do
Yeah,
you believe this? We got a CIA woman, Spanberger or something,
Yeah,
who is now the governor-elect of the state of Virginia.
right.
Man, I mean,
Yeah, she worked at the CIA, but she's also been a congressperson, I think state congressperson, or I don't remember if it's state or, yeah, before running for governor. So she's been in politics for a while. And she also, I think, worked in law enforcement or something. And she comes from a law enforcement family. And all I know from her is what I've seen in the ads. I really haven't paid attention to Virginia politics because we don't live in Virginia. So I don't know a whole lot about her, but I do know I am so glad this election is over because it is local to the DC area. So we've
Yeah.
had to watch all of these commercials for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it has been just so annoying.
Yeah. But that guy, Jay Jones, he was a bad guy, right?
He won.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he won attorney general.
I thought he was supposed to lose because he was such a bad guy.
Well, that's what they wanted you to believe. But no, Virginia was a total Democratic sweep, and Jay Jones was a Democrat running for attorney general. And then the opposition uncovered some really childish, nasty texts that he wrote about wanting to kill people or hoping people would die or suffer. I did not read a lot about it, but he got a lot of bad press, but he still won. Everything that was every statewide election in Virginia was won by Democrats. Yeah.
That is a terrible, that's frightening.
Yeah.
I thought Virginia was at least half and half, or, kind of like Maryland. I thought Maryland at least, had, maybe 30%, 40%.
I thought Virginia was totally red except for Northern Virginia.
It used to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was always that way.
Yeah.
The Northern Virginians always, they wanted to secede and everything. So we don't want to deal with all those rednecks in the mountains,
Right. Right. But no, she won. I think, I don't remember her first name, but Spanberger. Yeah.
Well, I can't explain it except for that it's the CIA everywhere,
Well, I don't know much about her opponent. And and Spanberger campaign did a very good job of portraying the opponent as a little bit wild. And because there was some video of her, she's speaking to a group and she's yelling at them going, I am speaking. And they kept showing that over and over again, basically saying she's out of control. And they also aligned her with Trump and how she is pro anything Trump. But Trump actually didn't endorse her, even acknowledge her in any way, which was weird. But she was the first African-American, I think, woman to be the, what is it called? Lieutenant governor. But yeah, so who knows what happened in Virginia. I think a lot more to come as she enters into this position as governor.
Here's one that disturbs me. Dearborn, Michigan calls Muslims to their daily prayer with a sound system. I would not want to have a PA, like from the firehouse, with their speaker, blasting out, the call to prayer. That's too far for me. I know that Christian churches ring bells. And I think bells are beautiful, and I don't go to those churches, but I have no problem with them ringing them bells. But somebody, speaking Arabic, telling me it's time to go pray, I don't need that message because I'm not one of those people that goes and prays, at regular times as they do. So it it should not be a public event that
Even if the population has enough Muslims.
yeah, because what about the minority?
Oh, now the minority counts.
Don't they always?
Well, once
think so.
again, the Jews and the Muslims have listened to those church bells over the years. This is one of those issues that to me is so inconsequential. So who cares,
I
So
wouldn't
that
want to hear it.
ugh, it's just not that big of a deal. And so if there's a significant, it's like having Spanish in, being used, like if, press 1 for English plus press 2 for Spanish.
Oh, that doesn't bother me.
Well, but wait a minute. English is our language here in the United States. A lot of people resent that.
No, it's not about the English. It's about the religion.
No, my
It's
point
about-
being that which is different, whether it's religion or language, we have our official religion unofficially is Christianity.
Judeo-Christianity.
Our official language unofficially is English. So when you stray from those things, you offend us. It's unimportant.
Okay, I disagree.
I know you do. We don't have a lot of time left. We have 5 minutes. Brightmore says everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Yeah, kind of reminds me of some of the local government issues. People complain about this and that happens in local government, and then they complain about this and that doesn't happen in local government that they'd like especially they want a Whole Foods. But Whole Foods won't come here because we don't have a big enough population. So people complain about population growth, but then they say we want a Whole Foods or a Wegmans. And when you work in local government, it's the same kind of thing. Everybody wants things to stay the way they are, but get better. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
Well, this is the big problem with the economy, of course, is that the government is now sending money out at a greater rate than it takes it in.
And for how long have we been doing that?
A long time.
Yeah.
And now, we're looking at going to $40 trillion in indebtedness. We'll be there soon. And nobody's doing anything to stop it.
Mm-mm.
So it's Catherine Austin Fitts, I think, rightly calls it a debt trap. That the banks have set us up in such a way that if we were to say we're not going to borrow anymore, then the banks, we owe them already so much interest that they could actually collapse our economy if we didn't re-up our loans.
Right.
And so it's a trap that we're stuck in, a financial trap. And this is where I say, this is where the LaRouche organization really does have the best answer. And that is to force these big banks and corporations to clean up their books, to force them through a bankruptcy procedure. And when half of their assets are derivatives that really don't have any value, then just write them off. Don't make our kids and grandchildren pay the interest on these loans that are worthless. The LaRouche people are absolutely on top of that what we need to do, and we need to do it quickly, is to get rid of these bad debts that all of these big corporations and banks are carrying, so that we no longer are looked to pay it. Because that's what they do. They incur these obligations, and then they have to raise taxes to pay it. It's the cycle that's been going on.
Yeah, I mean, the government should be required to run on a balanced budget, just like our local governments are.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Well, it definitely, every time we get to this point in the show, I have to say undo the coup again,
Mm,
because that's where it started.
yep.
I think that the United States had $350 million of debt in 1963.
I wonder what that translates, though, into current day dollars.
Well, maybe 10 times that, but it's nowhere near
Mm.
40 trillion.
No,
I mean,
no.
all of this debt has been rolled up on account of the Patriot Act and 9/11 and COVID. For goodness sakes, COVID just dumped another $5 or $6 trillion onto the backs of American taxpayers.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I think Roosevelt makes a good point going back to the Virginia election. I think a bunch of civil servants lost their jobs in Virginia and took some revenge. And I think that's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
I just wanted to put this up from Corky. Death is a transition. The word is too loaded toward finality.
That's what I mean about my thoughts about heaven and hell and the afterlife.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a transition.
yeah, and I face that question, because of my disease, and it scares me. Yesterday I spent some time really, really worried, and I don't have that today. I feel
Good.
good. I feel like I overcame it, but fear of death is real, and everybody has that. When something doom is impending, it impends, and it makes you very uncomfortable. You have to keep the attitude right. So that's why I put this up there, because
Right.
I believe it. I believe Corky's right. That death is a transition. That it just doesn't make any sense that we would be here and have this personality and this idea of a soul, and those
Well,
of us that pray have a contact with God and all this stuff. Does that disappear just because your body stops working? I just can't look at life that way.
well, your comments are very timely because we just celebrated Halloween and then followed by Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. And I think that in our culture, as my mother would say, Anglo-Saxon culture, we do see death as very final, and that
Yeah.
is what we are taught. Whereas in other cultures, again, death is treated as a transition, and you still have a relationship with your dead ancestors, which is what Dia de los Muertos is all about.
Yes, to have a small table or desk or somewhere, put a cloth on it, and then get things out that your deceased loved ones, used or loved or enjoyed. Make them a cup of tea. Put out their favorite salt shakers, or something they wore. Put it there, and let that be there on that table, during the day of the dead.
Yep. Well, we are time to wrap up, but I will say that Razvedka says, Amen, John.
Okay. Amen.
Amen.
Well, I guess that's the last word on this one, guys. Thank you so much. It's really been enjoyable for me, as I always enjoy our Friday chats with Marcia, and
Thank you.
looking forward to the next one. We're going to be on the road, so I wonder, it'll be Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Maybe we do it a day early.
We'll see. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for your
Thank you,
support.
everyone.
And I will see you on Monday, and we'll line up something with Grok.
Very soon.
A fight to the finish. Bye now.